Hi guys, my name is Jodie and welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be talking about some tips and general advice if you want to become a bookseller. So if you don't know, I am a bookseller and I get asked this a lot. I get tons of DMs and comments asking how I got my job, advice on how to apply, or if you're in the stages of interviewing to become a bookseller. I thought I'd do a video with some tips and advice on how you guys can become a bookseller. So yes, just a little disclaimer, this is in no way affiliated with my employer. These are all my own thoughts, opinions and so on like that. So just want to throw that out there. Now, just another disclaimer while I'm thinking about it. What worked for me won't necessarily work for you, and this is not a proven guide on how you are going to become a bookseller. There is no kind of list that you have to tick to be able to get it. These are just tips and advice from my experience on things that I think would be helpful if you want to become a bookseller. But yes, I am a bookseller. I've been a bookseller now for nearly 3 years and I absolutely love it. It's always been my dream job. It's literally the best job in the world. But that being said, it is retail, so bear in mind retail work is hard, but being a bookseller is harder because you not only have the usual kind of job roles as a retail employee does, but you also have to be able to give tailored recommendations, be knowledgeable of things outside of your comfort zone and your job. You have to do a lot of research and so many other things. So there is a lot to bookselling that people don't think. So just bear that in mind if you are planning on applying for a job to become a bookseller. But yes, let's just get into it. I haven't written a list or anything. I'm literally just gonna throw these out there. So my number one thing that I have to say is obviously have an interest in books. Do not even bother applying for a job in a bookshop if you don't read, or you're just not interested in books and you just want a job, or you just want to be able to say you're a bookseller. You need to be reading, even if you only read 1 book a month. As long as you actually read, then you'll be fine. But yes, make sure you have a keen interest in books. Make sure you're actually really enthusiastic about books, and that is something that is very, very important if you are interviewing or even giving in your CV, is showing your enthusiasm for books. Nobody wants a bookseller who's not enthusiastic about books. You need to love books if that's not clear already. So I'm pretty sure you guys do love books if you want to become a bookseller. So one of the biggest things I would say that is extremely helpful and extremely important as well, and will potentially make you stand out against other people and will also just assist you generally in being a bookseller, is to keep up to date with the book community and publishers. So what I mean by this is that being a part of maybe the online book community if you can, or your local book club or library, is a great way at gaining knowledge on what things are popular, what people are reading, what new releases are coming out, signing up to publisher newsletters so you can constantly be up to date with what's popular and what's new, what is about to release. Those sorts of things are incredibly important and helpful. So I'd highly recommend signing up for publisher newsletters, checking out publisher websites, checking out, bookshops websites as well, seeing what's on their homepage, what's being talked about. It's also really worth checking out book to film adaptations and book to TV show adaptations, because quite often you'll get customers come into a shop and they will say, oh, I watched this on blah blah blah, I don't know what the book's called, but do you have it, or what is it? And having that knowledge is very, very useful and very, very important. So I would definitely recommend being in touch with publishers and keeping up to date with them. It's a really good way to build relationships as well, and it's just a really good way of expanding your knowledge, being up to date and being better equipped as well. So definitely do. And if you are interviewing for a position as a bookseller, it's definitely worth mentioning that you are someone who's part of the book community. You keep up to date with what's current, what's coming out, you're signed up to publisher newsletters, or if you're a book blogger or something and you regularly have contact with the publishers, then it's definitely worth mentioning that, because that is a really, really good tool as well. So something I did as well for my interview, because I'm just extra, is I already wrote some book reviews beforehand. So I printed off my favorite book review and I took that in and I gave that to the person interviewing me, and because in my interview I literally made sure that I covered everything. So when I'd get asked a question, something I would do is, rather than just answer the question, I'd embellish it, and I ended up answering other questions within that one already, because I just talked a lot. I talked about my favorite books, I talked about books I'd reviewed, and then I gave them the printout of a review I'd done for that book, because that proves to them how serious I am about books. It also proves how much I really love reading and, you know, reviewing books as well, because as a bookseller you will have to review books as well. So that is always something you could do to make yourself stand out. And another thing is, you don't need to know everything. You cannot, it is not possible to be aware of every single book and every single author, so don't think that you have to do that. But like I said, having that knowledge of other genres and knowing what's up and current is very important. And if you are someone who only reads a specific genre, don't be afraid to say that, because a lot of stores will have people manage specific sections as well, so it's great if someone can recommend books from a specific section. However, you do also need to be aware of other genres. So what I mean by that is, even if you don't specifically read a genre, so for example, I read a tiny bit of fiction but not a lot, so what I will do is, if I know a book is popular and I see that it's popular but I haven't read it, I will read a few reviews on that book so that I am able to talk about it with customers, to give them feedback from reviews that I have read if they are asking me about that book and I have not read it. So that's something that you can do, is just to equip yourself with as much knowledge as you can about books and reviews as well. So that is another really good tip, and to talk about that in your interview, just make sure that you're saying, you know, you're part of the book community, you're up to date with things. Even the books you don't read, you read reviews for, just because then you know what they're about, things like that. Just showing that you really are keen to be a bookseller and talk about books all the time. So another tip that I do have is to be confident, smiley and friendly. Booksellers are some of the friendliest people you will ever meet. We are all usually very, very bubbly and chatty, and we love to talk to people about books. Talking to customers about books is one of the best parts of our job. Not only do we get to recommend books that we love, or find the perfect book for someone, or if they're buying a book for someone, find the perfect book for them, customers will quite often give us recommendations as well, which is amazing. And one of the best parts is building up a relationship with customers, so customers will come back for recommendations and things like that. So I think just proving that you are very customer service kind of savvy is really important. So being chatty, obviously in a sensible way, is really important. Showing that you're very, very friendly, and also if you have a previous experience within retail, make sure you talk about those skills. So for me, I used to work in pharmacy. However, I would work in dispensing, but I would also occasionally jump onto the till. So I was able to deal in customer service a lot, so I showed how my skills from that job would be transferable to a book selling. So if you have previous experience in any job, find a way to show that your skills are transferable. If not, try and show examples that you may have done like in other projects that aren't work related, that show you're adaptable and that you are able to demonstrate those like skills that are necessary for any retail job, if that makes sense. Okay, so the research thing I mentioned before, when you're a bookseller, one of the main things that happens is people will come in and they will give you the vaguest idea of a book possible. So someone might come in and say, there was a book I read 30 years ago, it was red, had a dog on the cover, I don't know the title, I don't know the author, can you please find it for me? And you will literally get like the vaguest inkling of a book. Like, it is really, really funny sometimes, and a lot of the time we do find that book, but be prepared to do your research. So a lot of book selling is doing research, it's googling, it's looking up, it's using your knowledge, talking to your colleagues, it's putting your head together and figuring out for a customer what book it is they're looking for. So that's something you have to be prepared to do as a bookseller, and it is a lot of fun as well. So yes, for interviews, my main tips are to talk about being part of a book community, showing that you're interested in books, being enthusiastic, talking about books and why you love them or a specific genre, mentioning your favorite book, talking about your transferable skills, what you're able to bring to the bookstore. If it's been your dream job, say that. Don't be afraid to say stuff like that. Tell them why you want to be working at that bookshop, why you really want to be a bookseller. Like, don't be afraid to really, really get into it and talk about it. I certainly did that in my interview and it worked for me. So obviously I've kind of already touched on this, but something that is good if you haven't done it already is maybe making a Bookstagram account or a Goodreads or some form of social media relating to books and becoming a part of the community. Build up some friendships, or just even follow what other people are discussing. It is a great way to keep yourself up to date with popular themes and popular books, and also, like I said, movies and TV shows. If I know a movie is coming out in the future or something, or relatively soon, I'm able to implement a display at work. So you have to be very proactive as a bookseller in changing your displays to the relevant thing, dressing up a shop as well, to kind of like merchandising, and that's one of my favorite things as well. So yes, you do also need to have like an eye for that as well. Being a part of like a bookstagram or something, like I said, it helps you to build relationships within the book community. You will be able to access other people's reviews and kind of, you know, give your brain a good like inkling as to what other books you might not necessarily go for are about and things like that. And it's just showing that you are keen and interested in books and that you have like knowledge in books, because that is one of the main things, is obviously to be knowledgeable. You don't need to know every single book that exists, but having some basic knowledge and proving that you are like active within the community is a really important thing. So yes, don't be afraid to talk about things like Bookstagram. If you're a booktuber or you do book reviews on a blog or Goodreads, anything like that, just talk about it. Sometimes the person might know what that is, sometimes they won't, and they might learn something from you which they will find interesting as well. So yes, don't be afraid to really talk about your interest when it comes to reading. Even talk to them about a book you recently read and why you loved it, or a book that changed your life. Like, don't be afraid to really talk about books, because that is the purpose of the job, and also having a good customer service skills. You've got to remember that being a bookseller is amazing, but it is retail, and at the end of the day you are working for a business that needs to make money. So you have to be able to recommend books to any customer who walks through that door, whether it be someone who reads something from your genre that you read or not. You need to be able to have those skills to be friendly, to recommend the right book, to help them find a book, and to have them leave your store feeling happy and wanting to return. So like I said, confidence, being enthusiastic, being smiley and friendly, having a good knowledge about books, and just being an active member of the book community or building relationships with publishers are all of the best advice I can give you if you are interested in getting a job as a bookseller. Another good thing to do if you do want to build experience before applying for a job as a bookseller is to maybe try and volunteer at your local library, get involved in a book club. Things like that are really good ways of getting some experience, or even start your own local book club if there isn't one. I've noticed in my local areas that a lot of the book clubs are kind of like older people, and sometimes you might not want to go to those, or you might want to start a young adult one. So that is a really good thing that you could do. Just post online that you're starting a young adult book club, and then if you go for your interview and you talk about that, that already shows how enthusiastic you are. So start a book club, volunteer at a local library. If you're someone who's maybe still in school, in the future your dream job is to become a bookseller, then it's something you could do is start a book club at your school, and that is a great experience when you are old enough to apply for a job at a bookshop or any form of job. So yes, maybe starting a book club, or even if it's an online book club, volunteering at a library, things like that are all great experience within books if you are wanting to get into the book kind of industry. So I would highly recommend doing any of those things. You don't have to, I never, but they're just some ideas if you really did want to. A really good thing that you can do as well, if there is a specific bookstore you want to work at, start building up reviews on that website, because customers can post reviews of books. So if you are interested in a specific bookstore, start popping reviews on for the books you're reading on their website, and then when you're in your interview or you hand your CV in or whatever, you can say, oh yeah, I actually do like a lot of reviews on your website already for the books that I read. And then they might go to the website and see your reviews and think, wow, this person really is interested in books, they know their stuff. So that is another thing that you can do as well. As I said at the start of this video, this isn't like a proven guide to becoming one. These are just things that work for me personally, and advice I think would be really helpful. I am very lucky to have my job. I absolutely love it. I dreamed of working in a bookshop when I was younger, when I used to go with my grandparents every weekend to get a new book, and I always wanted to work there, and I'm so unbelievably thankful that I do, and I love my job. But like I said, it comes down to so many other things that you don't always have control over, and you've just got to really be authentic, be yourself. Don't pretend that you read Tolstoy or something, because it doesn't matter. Just being yourself, talking about the books that you like, what your skill set is as an individual, is the best thing to do, because each individual can bring something new to a bookshop. And that is the best thing, is that every single bookseller is so unique and has their own interests and ideas and opinions on books, and that's what makes bookshops such an interesting place to go to. And it's just a really fun place and an incredible job. So that's all like my tips and advice. I hope some of it would be helpful to you, but just bear in mind, it's retail. this isn't 100% going to guarantee you a job. This is literally just advice for you to take on board. If you're currently interviewing to become a bookseller, I really do hope that it is going well and you get your job. But yes, I hope some of this information will be helpful to you guys and that you enjoyed this little video. I would be more than happy to do another video talking about my life as a bookseller if you guys wanted. I know a lot of people keep asking me to do a vlog as like a day in the life as a bookseller, but I obviously do work for a business. A lot of you guys already know who I work for, and it's just not something I can do, unfortunately. Maybe in the future I could figure something out and ask if I was able to do that, but realistically I work in a business and I can't just be vlogging at work, so unfortunately I can't really film something like that. But I'd be more than happy to do a video like talking about like bookseller stuff if you guys wanted it. If you have any questions on what I do specifically as a bookseller, or you just want to know more or anything like that, please feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. The best place to ask me would be in the comment section of this video, because I am not very on top of DMs and things like that. So if you do have any questions regarding anything I've mentioned or any other things I haven't quite kind of touched upon, because I know I've probably forgotten a lot of things, and when I'm editing this I'm going to be like, oh, why didn't I talk about that? But I haven't wrote a list and I'm just going off the top of my head. But yes, if you do have any other questions or anything like that, just pop a comment down below and I will answer it as best as I'm able to. But yes, once again, this is all my own thoughts, opinions, advice and so on. It's not going to guarantee you a job, but I do hope that it helps you in some way. And yeah, like I said, bookselling truly is the best job in the world. I'm so lucky to have it, and I absolutely adore my job and the company that I get to work for. It is literally a dream. Like, it has always been my dream job, and to have my dream job and to enjoy going to work is the greatest feeling. And yeah, every single time I do, I feel lucky. I'm just so happy that I am a bookseller. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will have my Patreon link down below if you are looking for extra content from me, such as reading vlogs and a monthly buddy read, a Discord channel and lots of other things. That will be linked down below. I will also link my TikTok, because I did do a small TikTok of a day in the life of a bookseller, which I was doing for like our social media, which is also something that you could mention in your interview, because I run the social media for my bookstore. So you could say that you are social media savvy and you'd be interested as well in doing something like that to help book sales. You could say something like that. I'm just thinking out loud. But yes, so I do have that TikTok, which I will link down below if you guys want to watch that as like a little snippet into my day as a bookseller. But yes, I will have that, all of my Bookstagram, everything else I've mentioned linked in the description box. But yes, everything will be linked down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did make it all the way to the end, leave a book emoji in the comments, leave a like as well. I really hope that you're all safe and well and reading a lot of good books, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.